Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. I promised you empowerment this morning, and we're going to focus on our school learners right now and hopefully empower you for the year ahead, because this has been a crazy one, a difficult one, I think, to wrap our heads around. And as we draw close to the end of 2020, yes, it will come to an end and the school year is slowly starting to wrap up. It can be helpful, I think, to start prepping for the looming sounds very negative, the impending joy of 2021's academic year. Educational psychologist Dr. Sharon Aitken now joins us to give her expert advice on how learners can go about doing this. And I suppose parents as well, because parents need to get in our corner as high school learners. Sharon, always great to connect with you.
Thank you.
And I suppose at a very interesting juncture, because we haven't quite figured out 2021 yet.
We definitely haven't.
On any level, but certainly from the disruption to our high school learners. So I think there is an opportunity to kind of refocus, recalibrate for 2021. Is it important for us to start prepping for the next school year? And where should our mindset be at this stage, do you think?
Look, exams are still occurring. So I think at the moment, the important thing is to focus just on 2020 and getting through the exams and getting through the academic year. And I'm reluctant for over-planning. I think the kids really need a break and they need to embrace their holiday.
Especially after this year.
Exactly. But I think from January onwards, I mean, you can start having a look at what you want to get out of 2021. And I think what you were mentioning about the parents is absolutely crucial, because they often think that from high school they don't need to be involved in the homework, and yet actually parental involvement is crucial even all the way up to first year varsity or first year tertiary, and it sounds ridiculous.
The mama or the dad that's been homeschooling for the last 6 months.
Exactly.
Little did we know. When we start thinking about prepping for a new year ahead, it's not just about the OCD joy of covering new school books and getting ready on that sense, but you want to be mentally prepared and emotionally prepared, I suppose, for these new gateways. And as much as we'd like to move past it, this year has changed us. It's changed the way that we see school. We now know that there is obviously so much uncertainty, and we don't know what next year is going to hold. So how do we do that? What needs to go on in our mind to prepare ourselves for the new academic year?
I think from my side, having worked so much with children and adolescents with chronic illnesses, one of the things I can tell adolescents is, you know what, you actually can do it at home. So if everything crashes and you don't even have the internet, as long as you've got your textbooks, you're actually quite capable of passing the year and studying on your own from the textbook. You just need to learn how to access the information in the textbook, and you need to set up a good study schedule at home and pace yourself through the year. So, I mean, obviously they're not going to lose contact with the schools, hopefully, but it is possible to manage it on your own.
How do we, because it's got to be based on what works for you. Do we go through a self-audit? How do we plan how we're going to schedule, how we're going to focus on, because we want to get the most out of academic, yes, but also extracurricular, social. We want to have a well-rounded year, because that is as important. We know that for being socially ready to leave school. So what process do we go through for ourselves? And I'm speaking specifically to the learners here. What do they need to start thinking about before they start putting their planner down and kind of getting into the fun stuff of mapping out the year?
So I think the year planner for me is crucial. It's one of the most useful tools that I've found that works for anybody who's studying. So if they have a year planner, they can actually mark on there their important academic assessments and things that need to be happening through the year that they need to plan for, their social, their sports, extracurricular. All of that can go onto one planner that can either be sort of 4 pages with 3 months per page, or 2 pages, and at a glance they can see what is coming up. Now, if you have that glance, it helps you to prevent procrastination, because you can see where all the backlogs are coming. So you can see, oh my word, so April is going to be insanely hectic because I've got this and I've got that, and it helps you to start preparing for things much earlier and keeps sort of daily consolidation. I really need to get that phrase in. So the daily consolidation is easier when you can see that you're going to have really busy times ahead.
I think a lot of people would have been dreaming about going back into structure, being able to have a teacher telling you what to do, as crazy as that sounds, having break times, having a bit of structure to maneuver within. Are there rules and guidelines that are really good for us that we can benefit from in that school, something that works across the board?
The two things. One is the year planner, and the second is a weekly planner that changes from term to term depending on your extracurricular activities. So you basically have a look at how your afternoons are set out, and you mark very clearly in there where you're going to do your daily consolidation or your homework. And that can be a pact with your parents that on a Monday, for example, I'll be concentrating on my academics between 4 and 5 or 4 and 6, and on a Tuesday it might be 3 to 5, depending on what the afternoon is. If that is up clearly on a door or on a study somewhere that everybody can see, it kind of forces you or encourages you to actually start working consistently. But the key for everybody is daily consolidation. If you know that every day you must come home and you must go over any new vocabulary that you learned that day, that was taught in class. That's when it really
takes hold, yeah.
Then that will work. Then your exams will essentially write themselves.
They'll fall into place and there won't be any mad panic just days before the exam. I want you to think about, putting this year into perspective and thinking about what we've done and what lessons we need to take out of that as we move forward, and that's where we're going to pick up with the rest of this conversation. We are talking about preparing for the new academic year, but we can't do that until we've made it through this year. So if you are still studying right now, if you're writing exams, let that be your razor-sharp focus for now. Get through 2020 with aplomb, despite the craziness, and then we'll help you get prepped for 2021.